Purpose-inspired TV is under construction. During this process, we invite you to step into the journey. By joining our team, you have the chance to shape the very fabric of this channel with your creative ideas and skills. We believe that the true essence of innovation lies in collaboration, and together, we can create something truly extraordinary. We will provide content that ignites your passion, inspires personal growth, and encourages a positive impact on society. Our focus is on delivering shows that are entertaining, thought-provoking, educational, and uplifting. We want to hear your voice, your vision, and your recommendations for individuals you would love to see on our channel. We aim to create a channel that resonates deeply with viewers, challenging them to think bigger, dream bolder, and live a life of purpose. So, join us today, and together, we can make a difference, one viewer, one show, and one purpose at a time.
What's up, everybody? I pray everybody is doing well. This is the day after the Love Day. Happy Valentine's Day. I want to do a story or report on Valentine. I don't know if I can do that at the end. Anyway, we're still talking about Black history, so I hope everybody had a good Valentine's Day or Valentine's weekend. So we're still talking about Black history, but before I know I'm gonna be saying this a whole lot throughout the evening, but this coming Monday we are going to be broadcasting the Martin Luther King's 44th annual parade here in Jacksonville. We'll be broadcasting from Purpose Inspired TV live on Roku and Fire TV and other social media like Facebook and YouTube. So if you can't make it out to the parade, I believe it starts at 10 until everybody marches through. If you're unable to make it, or if you can come out for a little while and want to pick up the rest, you can join and watch the rest on Purpose Inspired TV on Roku and Fire TV. So join us. Yes, that will be our biggest event that we will be broadcasting live. The only thing, we just don't know how long it's going to be, but we are planning on staying there the entire parade. But what we're going to do, we're going to pick up where we left off last week. We was talking about different things that, again, like different Black history things that's going on or went on. We was talking about the event that happened in Jacksonville. Axe Handle Sunday is what they call it. So I want to talk about it a little bit more. So let me see here. I'm gonna get it ready. But yeah, how's everybody else? How's everybody doing? Did you enjoy your day? So it just takes a couple of seconds for my videos to start up. Yeah, I should start it early. Come on, we're waiting.
16-year-old.
Okay, go back. And now go up here and hit present, share screen. Sorry, talking out loud, letting y'all know what I'm doing. And entire screen, that screen. You got to push like 10 different buttons. There we go. So let's watch this together and talk about it. So let me just a little bit of back. I guess she's probably gonna say it in the video, but Axe Handle Sunday here in Jacksonville, Florida. You know, throughout the country, the fight for civil rights. This was in 1960, as you know. We people of color really didn't get really civil rights from the government until 1965. So you mean what kind of civil rights? Yes, it was a law that kept people of color from having the same rights and privileges as quote unquote whites. So it was the law. It was the law of the land. We know of some of the pictures where um, you see white only water fountains. It's like you have one water fountain has blacks only and a water fountain with whites only. The buses, there were the people of color had to go all the way to the back, and the whites were right up front. On the trains, I think if you watch some of the movies, it was like not until they went into the South. So when you go up north, they was integrated, but then you go in the South, all the whites would have to move up front, and all the blacks would have to move to the back. The racism was so strong. So, and even like restaurants, sometimes people of color could not go inside. They couldn't go to the counter, or they had to go, to the end of the counter or to the back of the restaurants. A lot of the hotels, people of color couldn't stay in the hotels. They couldn't sleep in the hotels. They some couldn't get food. And, some of the stories we hear, like musicians are traveling, they would have to send the white people in to get the food for them, or maybe send one person in and order the food for everybody because they couldn't go inside and they had to sleep in the bus or find people to houses to go to because the hotels didn't want people of color to stay there. So I'm gonna play a clip later on talking about the green. It's not the green card. I forgot. We'll learn together. But basically, someone had found different locations where it was safe for people of color to go, and places where people are not safe to go to. So we're gonna get into that also. Some of these places are called sundown towns, and I'm going to show you some information where today, 2025, this is 2025, there are still cities in this great United States where it is not safe for people of color to go in the daytime, and especially at night. They want people of color out of their town or their life will be in danger. But we're rolling all back. We're coming back to Jacksonville, Florida, 1965 years before the civil rights. The civil rights were enacted. So here we go. Oh, well, I was talking about the sit-ins. So people of color were doing peaceful protest. The peaceful protest was to go to different restaurants or eateries and just sit there and ask for service. And, they knew they was going to get service, so they knew the police was going to come and arrest them. So a lot of times they was prepared to get arrested. But in these situations, the people of color, again, it was being peaceful, but the white people of Jacksonville decided they didn't want to be peaceful. So they got bats and sticks and axe handles to go beat up the peaceful teens that were just sitting in to protest about them not being able to get service in those establishments, and basically places they can work at, they can cook, they can clean, they can do everything like that, but they couldn't sit in there, they couldn't go to the restaurant and get served food. So okay, here we go, real quick rehistory about Axe Handle Sunday.
16-year-old Marjorie Meeks Brown was one of the youthful protesters who was attacked during a peaceful lunch counter sit-in in downtown Jacksonville on August 27th, 1960. But Meeks Brown would make history for the rest of her life by paving the way for other African Americans in one of the most well-known federal organizations in the country. As Marjorie Meeks Brown sat down for a youth NAACP meeting inside Laura Street Presbyterian Church, she learned that danger would be waiting for her and other peaceful protesters.
Our leaders had told us that there was a swarm of white men gathered at Henry Park, handing out axe handles with the intent of running off the troublemakers.
These axe handles were given to white men in anticipation of Black teenagers and young adults attempting to sit at a segregated lunch counter.
Perhaps that one day of axe handle Saturday was the first time that I really felt true fear.
Among the peaceful protesters, Youth NAACP President Rodney Hurst, Vice President Alton Yates, and Meeks Brown, the secretary. The group took a vote. Should they protest? Yes or no?
No one backed away.
As a child, Meeks Brown lived at Moncrief and 30th.
There's a swimming pool for whites only. They built a second pool just to keep black folk out of the swimming pool. And when we attempted to go there, they just covered up the pool.
She knew segregation was fueled by hatred as she walked through an all-white Brentwood neighborhood to get her mother to work at a diner. Everyone was cruel to them.
In order to walk my mom to work and the kids throwing rocks at us. When we got to the restaurant where my mom worked, of course, we had to go in the back door.
This is a photo of the first Youth Council sit-in. On August 27th, 1960, Meeks and others did the same thing as they walked into Grant's store downtown.
It was the first time in my life that I feared for my safety. I thought that either I might be hurt or I could even be killed. Guys, white guys coming towards us, an angry crowd. So we immediately got up and were told to leave. And we did that as fast as we could.
Meeks Brown escaped and went back to the church at Laura Street, but the violence against Black people didn't end.
Stretched out into the city, there were occasions, and of course, Blacks were fighting back. There were occasions where there was Black and white violence that night.
Protesting for civil rights gave Meeks Brown the determination to be successful in life. But in school, she was already known as the woman, quote, most likely to succeed. Meeks Brown began working at the local United States Postal Service. It too was segregated. She climbed the ranks to supervisor. Then the promotion stopped.
Post office was very segregated, and they really did not want any Blacks, and there were no Blacks in top management.
She climbed up the ranks in Florida and returned to Jacksonville to become one of the highest ranking managers. The same would happen in Miami, New York, and Atlanta. Meeks Brown was one of 2 female postmasters of one of the top 15 post offices in the country. The success garnered national attention. A woman who began as an ambitious 16-year-old fighting for equality has paved a way for so many others. Looking back at that tragic day on Axe Handle Saturday, she explains why others need to know about that day.
All citizens of Jacksonville need to know about this and understand this is what happened, and this is why, and this is where we are today, and how can we take that and build on it and make sure it doesn't happen again.
Mrs. Marjorie Meeks Brown also created a local chapter of A+, meaning African American Postal Employees United, in 1987, and also a organization called Network, a mentorship program for Black women in management and executive positions in the post office. But Meeks Brown.
Okay, so we saw, just seeing her story, 16-year-old, just a 16-year-old, understanding and seeing that it was unjust. Our government, our city, our state, a lot of this, she recognized that it was really unjust. So she stood up and did something about it. What happened to my other video that I thought I downloaded? Let me see, green. So yeah. What we see, so we keep, one thing I keep hearing, you need to get prepared for a race war. You need to get prepared for a race war. And it's like the white people are like saying that they need to get prepared for a race war. But if you look back through history, even what we're talking about here today, the Axe Handle Sunday, these was teens and very young adults just sitting at a counter, and they got beat up. And then not only did they get beat up, any person of color was walking down the street got beat up. And she was telling the story how she would just walk her mom to work, going through certain neighborhoods. They would sometimes get beat up or get rocks and sticks thrown at them just for their color. So if we want to keep talking about a race war, it's not the people of color that's instigating or trying to start a race war. If you go back through history, majority of the events where a lot of people of color are doing peaceful protests, peaceful, unarmed. You go some of the videos you see the kids and teens, people getting sprayed by water hose, getting bit by dogs, getting beat by the mallets. They didn't have any weapons. They didn't have guns. So that's kind of like what started to get into protection of different other groups. Or like they said during the Axe Handle Sunday, when the teens were getting beat up and other citizens were getting beat up, that's when different groups of men, people of color, came to protect the people who was getting beat up. And, they were the ones that started getting arrested. But we just still need to understand and continue to know what happened. And another thought is that was in 1960. So she was 16. So, just add, when was that? So that was, I'm sorry. If that was 60 and add 6, that's 70, 75, 76. So she's not, let's say, below 80. So my point is a lot of probably a lot of people who was there that day, black and white, the people who was doing the beating, and the persons, I'm not sure, I don't know all the ages, but probably the younger people in the crowd, they're still here. They were taught that hatred of people of color, and they're still here. And a lot of them, they taught the same thing to their children. So it didn't die. And like when they passed a law to give people of color some civil rights, those people didn't die. They're still here, and they still teach their children the same thing. So this next thing I want to go to is later on, it's something called sundown towns where people of color are not safe to go. So they started, let me find my video, but yeah, I'm sorry. Kind of a little bit distracted. So yeah, let's talk about sundown town. Let me see if I can bring this video up. So that's my question. Do you know what a sundown town is? Do you know what a sundown town is? While I get the video going, I got a comment over here. Okay. Come on, play. So anybody haven't heard of a sundown town? Do you know what a sundown town is? So I'm gonna get this video ready.
By the time Missouri Governor Jay Nixon went on television yesterday to announce the midnight.
So this is modern. This is what's happening, like what's going on, like history now. Okay, here we go. Add to stage. And back over here. Play.
By the time Missouri Governor Jay Nixon went on television yesterday to announce the midnight curfew for residents of Ferguson, we'd already gone off the air here on MHP. The friend of the show, Dorian Warren, who was with me at my table yesterday, stuck around and joined my colleague TJ Holmes at his table during the news conference. After it ended, Dorian weighed in on the historical precedent to what the governor had to say.
What you just said, Raul, when the sun goes down, here is the historical context for this. If you were black in an all-white town, you could not be in that town when the sun goes down, and it was a threat to your safety.
Historian and author James Lowen, the man who literally wrote the book on sundown towns, uncovered thousands of these towns that existed in the United States throughout the 20th century. By some estimates, as many as 10,000 sundown towns had sprung up across the country by 1970. Some, where the warning to African Americans not to let the sun go down on you was an unspoken rule that spread by reputation. Others, where the warning was explicitly spelled out in signs posted along the highway or at the town or on the county line. But all of them, whites-only spaces where being Black after dark could mean arrest, harassment, assault, or worse. In 1968, 21-year-old Carol Jenkins was selling encyclopedias door to door in the sundown town of Martinsville, Indiana, and she was stabbed in the chest with a screwdriver and left to die in the street. So for African American travelers, making the choice about where to stop for food, gas, or a bathroom break, or rest for the night was potentially a life or death decision. It is in part what prompted the publication of this, the Negro Motorist Green Book. This handy guide let African Americans on the road know where they could find safe harbor and where they need to steer clear of the threat of white violence in sundown towns. The Green Book started to become obsolete when the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 outlawed racial discrimination in public accommodations. But that history of restricting travel and access to public spaces for African Americans seemed very present last night in Ferguson, where the people were warned to stay out after midnight in a town they normally call home.
Okay, that was a different point of view, but come down here. I'm sorry.
By the time Missouri Governor.
Okay, move that from string. So yes, move that back. 2025, there are still sundown towns where, yes, people of color, it ain't safe for you to go there. I know, like with Sharice, we go traveling. That's my attitude. I don't care during the daytime, but at night, I still think, I still try to, I'll be safe. I'll be safe. Anyway, yeah, so when we traveling, I know sometimes we go to some towns that we may feel like we're unsafe, but it might be unsafe for us to be there. She always tell the story about a restaurant that we went in when we was in, should I say, West Virginia. I think we was the only people of color for miles around. We've been over to some other towns. It looked like they was having some Klan rallies and stuff going on. So I'm still just running around. It's still a free country. But I know at night, I don't think I would be riding around in some of those places at night. So I know. But I don't remember seeing signs that said whites only. But I know some of these towns, I believe they were sundown towns. Like it was not safe for us to be in those city limits during that time. But it was just the green card. I'm gonna show you this. Did it download? I'm sorry. Let me go over here. Let me take this out the way. Sorry, I'm doing production at the same time. So where did it go? It said it downloaded. Hit that button right there. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, boop, boop. So, there it is. Click this button. Let me see. This is Sharice. No, don't be starting nothing up here. Don't be starting nothing. You have us anywhere. I'm the one that's weary of places we go. Man, I keep you safe. We haven't got any trouble anywhere. And I got my protection. You know. Okay. I'm getting this video ready. So it's telling us. So back then,
imagine you're on a road trip with your family.
Back up. You always don't want to do right with me. Don't play right. Don't play right. Add it to screen. Here we go. So now this was designed to help people of color find out where it's safe to go and where not safe to go. And they made a
imagine you're on a road trip with your family. The year is 1954 and you're Black. Segregation is law in the South and basically practiced everywhere else in America. You're traveling down the famed Route 66, and you've just reached Albuquerque, New Mexico for the first time. There's not another town for miles, and you want to pull over and sleep for the night. There are over 100 motels to choose from, but less than 8 will take you in. Picking the wrong one could lead to a humiliating encounter, or worse, a violent one. But there was actually a way to know where you'd be welcome. It was in the Green Book. Americans fell in love with the idea of the road trip in the mid-20th century. A growing middle class meant more people had cars and jobs with paid vacation time. And a newly built interstate highway system meant the country was accessible to a big part of the population for the first time. The open road indicated freedom, and traveling by car reflected Americans' image of themselves: self-sufficient, curious, and spontaneous. It was a way for families to spend time together and see the expansive country they called home, to experience America's cultural and natural diversity. Through the 1950s and 60s, the highway became the most common way for American families to travel. Motels and roadside attractions sprang up along the highway to accommodate travelers needing a place to sleep or eat at any point on their journey. But that freedom didn't extend to all Americans. Black motorists were turned away from the roadside hotels, gas stations, and restaurants that had taken over the American landscape. Some places were so hostile that it was unsafe to even get out of the car. Sundown towns forcibly expelled African Americans at night, sometimes violently. Black families had to take prepared food in case they wouldn't find a restaurant that would serve them, extra gallons of gasoline in case filling stations wouldn't sell to them, and even empty coffee tins in case they couldn't access a bathroom. They carried blankets and pillows, knowing that finding a safe place to sleep could mean camping by the roadside or driving long hours into the night, even though they had money to pay for a hotel. Sometimes that distance was fatal. It was the exact opposite of the spontaneous American road trip. But thanks to a Harlem postal worker turned travel agent, knowing where to go wasn't a total shot in the dark. In 1936, Victor Hugo Green collected information on hotels, restaurants, beauty salons, and mechanic shops that would reliably serve African Americans in New York City. He called his travel guide the Negro Motorist Green Book and began publishing an updated version each year. Using his network at the United States Postal Service, which was one of the largest single employers of African Americans at the time, Green put together detailed information on businesses and private homes that would welcome Black travelers. The Green Book eventually grew to cover locations in all 50 states and sold ad space to businesses all over the country. With the help of Esso, now ExxonMobil, as a progressive corporate partner and distributor of the guides, around 15,000 copies of the Green Book started selling each year. Victor Green's once 16-page booklet ballooned to over 100 pages and became a staple item for Black families who wanted to participate in the joy of cross-country travel. And it turns out that iconic image of the open road, of freedom and family values, would become an anchor in the civil rights movement. Dr. Martin Luther King even mentions it in his I Have a Dream speech.
We can never be satisfied as long as our body is heavy with the fatigue of travel. Cannot gain lodging in the motels of the highways and the hotels of the city.
The Civil Rights Act ended legal segregation in 1964. And just 2 years later, the Green Book went out of print. It had become obsolete.
And as the road cut through the broad plains, you felt the tremendous space all around you, the country rolling out to the horizon, and you rolling with it. It was beautiful. And you sort of sensed the real meaning behind the word freedom.
Right, so let's go. All right, what you saying? Yeah, we love Route 66. Yep, Route 66. Let me see what we got. We need to start doing that, carrying food, keeping car full. Well, it's not. So I guess my question is, do we need to bring the Green Book back? I don't think it's that bad. Well, probably some places are getting bad, but like I said, it's plenty of videos. You know, we're in a time where everything is recorded. We have cell phones and video cameras, and there are a lot of sundown towns in our country. So even just Cherie sent me this. Let me bring this up. Slide this over. Slide that over. Make it big screen. And add it to the screen. Okay, what are you looking at is, let me see if I can zoom in some. Well, basically, over here to the left, it says they don't know. So basically, it's every dot is represented by a city. And the gray, it says don't know. The light, let's call it pink. It says possible. So there's a lot of pinks. And then the little bit of dark pink or light red is possible to be we're talking about sundown towns. And then these dark reds are surely. These are probably places that's proud to say that they're a sundown town. And then we got some blacks is an unlikely, well, it's like a biracial city or a black township. But I would like to even say I haven't heard, or I don't believe it would be, or the town would be burnt down if there is a majority or all black town treated white people that way if they went to that particular town. And a lot of the black towns are not like saying no whites are allowed. They just develop a town. But like I said, if a white person goes there, I believe they will be served. There now, on the other hand, I know there's some parts of certain towns. I'm telling you that I wouldn't feel safe going. I've been there. Some of my when I was working at different places, some certain apartment complexes, certain neighborhoods. So, but it wasn't the city. It wasn't a collective. It wasn't a collective of the whole entire city that was racist and didn't want a particular race in their particular city. What I'm talking about is different neighborhoods, different pockets, or different apartment complexes where I believe it's not safe for white people to go. I won't even recommend people who are not from that particular area to go. So that's totally different. So I know a lot of people come out, well, there's certain places where white people can't go. I 100% agree with you, but it's not condoned by the entire town. These dots that we're looking at are towns that came together to agree that we don't want people of color here, or we're going to cause harm to people of color. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Let's take a look. Well, let's just come to, let me see, slide over. Where you would think, as you see here, just like the Midwest, it's kind of light over here, but here around here, I thought it wouldn't be that bad because a lot of people from the South, migrated and moved north to these Illinois, these different states here in between the North and the South. Look how many there are. It's just unbelievable how many, and especially all this area. Most of these are considered the North. But let's just slide over to our neck of the woods. So and I love to travel. I love to drive, and I've driven across most of these states, and probably been past, or even been through not most, I can't say most, a lot of these towns. So here we are. What we got for Richmond? It's been a sundown. Oh no, that's not Richmond. Okay. But that's what happens if you push the button. Okay. I didn't really want to pick on a particular town. So here's our home state. Is that Virginia Beach? Oh, Narrows, Virginia. That's possible. And here, okay, I'm not even trying to say that town. There we go. What is this? Wrightsville Beach. Man, that's where the Wrights brothers, the first flight. I took my mom there. Well, it was in the daytime. I don't know what's going on at night. Okay. So let's come on down South Carolina. Where's that? Georgetown. How in the world there's a black town, Marysville, right next door to Georgetown that has been a sundown town. That's kind of fun. I guess they sent all the blacks over there. Y'all get out. Y'all go over there and we stay over here. Okay. Shandon, South Carolina, right there in the middle. Let's come on. A lot of these. Let me see if some of these places I've been. No. Isles of Palm. I know I've driven. I know I've driven through these places. What? Cerise, we done been up there hanging out. Tabby Island. So what we got now? What is over here? What is this? What is this? What is this? Thompson County, Georgia. There's on I-10. All right, I'm sorry. I look like I'm really talking to myself. Orange Beach, Alabama. Yeah, I done been past all these places here. Well, no, I keep on saying a lot of these different places. So am good old my second home in Florida. I've been all left, right, up and down, in and out of the state of Florida. So what do we got here for Florida? Flagler Beach. Not Flagler Beach. But again, most of these, we probably went there and tried to, because we like had dinner or something on a Sunday when the sun was going down. But I didn't know it was like that. Daytona Beach Shores. Yeah, we go to Daytona Beach a lot. I don't know about that one. Where's that right there? Baker, New Jersey. I think they put this spot in the wrong spot. Cedar Key. Yes, we go to Cedar Key. Oh man. All right, let me read what y'all got. Would y'all believe that these places are sundown towns or were sundown towns? It's just unbelievable to me. Delray Beach. Probable. Well, I guess Palm Beach. Let me just click on Palm Beach. I'm sorry to be talking to myself, but this is kind of amazing to me what we got to say here. So what kind of information did it say about the sundown, the census information? Okay, I had to spend some more time on seeing what the feel, or do they have the same attitude of they want to keep it a sundown town? Do they treat people of color different when they St. Cloud? Do they treat people of color different after the sun goes down? But let me see, come all the way down to my, like my Miami. I'm glad we don't have no dots up here around Jacksonville, but I know probably it's some different neighborhoods. We know that. Just Miami Beach itself, that's probably back in the day. I guess they can do about it now. Coral Gables, same thing. They might have not wanted people of color back in the day, but I think it's so many there now that not too much you can do about it. So we probably need a more update. So what cities are active now? What cities if your car break down and you try to get some help, or they can close up all the stores and everything when you get there? And let me see my little boss. Here's my little map. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. I'm doing a lot of yakking. I was born up here in New Jersey, raised here in North Carolina, so that's in the South. Lived in Tennessee and South Carolina, Massachusetts, over in San Diego, California. So been a little bit back and forth. But the place where I saw the most racism was right. Will it zoom in? When I went to Boston, I thought they were not racist up there. Let me see, it's Boston. So these are places around Boston. I got treated the worst when I was in Boston, when I was in the Navy, in my uniform. See, the reason I say that, like growing up in the South, even to the guys, good old boys, they got their Confederate flag and all that. If you got problems, they would still help you. I've experienced that many times. Well, I'm saying many times, on several occasions where we just call them good old boys. They look like they don't like you because of your skin color, and they broadcast. They have the flag, they have the stickers, they have everything letting you know that I really don't like you. But if something happened to you, if your car break down on the side of the road, I guess let's say during the daytime, I don't particularly know what might happen to you at night, but in the daytime, some of the good old boys, they have this thing called Southern hospitality. So where neighbors help neighbors. I look like sometimes whether they like you or not, because a lot of them they still have people of color working for them. They went to school with them and different things. But they would still have this Southern hospitality, I would say. But people up north, they didn't have no Southern hospitality. I remember getting to Boston. I was in my Navy uniform back in the day. When I first joined, we had to travel in our y'all got anybody any kind of city that you want to zoom in on? Yeah, back in the day when I first joined the Navy, whenever we traveled, we had to travel in our uniform. We couldn't travel without the uniform on, and that was a little bit before all this respect, because like I wasn't treated the way a lot of people came out from Vietnam. They was cussed out, beat up, and spit on, all that kind of stuff. But I really didn't get any. Nobody really cared when they made us travel in uniform. No big deal, nothing special. We had the USO. The USO was the only one that I saw that was trying to make any help the military travelers. So they would have a setup at a lot of the airports. Like if you get stuck at an airport or something, you need somewhere to try to find some help, it would be the USO. But I don't recall anything at all. Now it's like I really don't know what happened, really, to tell you the truth. But now if somebody see I got the star, I think, on my driver's license, it says, veteran. I get thank you for your service. You get a discount. You get treated better. You get treated differently when they find out that you're a veteran. But back in the day, oh no, you wasn't getting treated. No, like I say, you wasn't getting treated good at all. So anyway, when I remember getting to Boston, I don't know where the story came from, but I'll tell the story. First, I don't know what happened. I didn't have money on me for some reason, and so we flew. I flew from Jacksonville to Boston, and I thought that someone from my ship was going to pick me up, and it was another a white guy that was on the same flight. And when we landed, that's when we met and found out we was going to the same ship. And I think we ended up, with friends. I think the remainder of the time we was on the ship. So I remember it was like 80 degrees in Jacksonville, and we landed in Boston. It was a blizzard. It was snow everywhere, and I just couldn't believe we just left 80, 85 degrees, and now just going north, you get into this much snow. So anyway, so we was trying to get to the ship, the ship was in dry dock. So a taxi cab driver picked us up, and he didn't speak good English. So we're trying to tell him we're trying to get to the ship. You know, we both in uniform. We both got a sailor's uniform on. He didn't get it. So ship. So what he did, he takes us to a neighborhood and like, it doesn't look like we're going to the right place. End up, he took us to the USS Constitution. You know, that's a museum. It's not a Navy ship. So we're like, no, that's the wrong ship. So he's still like, he couldn't understand. You know, this is, again, before cell phones. We didn't have any cell phone, didn't have any GPS. So when I traveled, I had paper maps. I always buy the newest paper map for the year. So no direction. So now we are, we said we just need to ask people in the neighborhood how to get to the ship. So as I think that the other guy that was with me, he was walking one direction, I went another way, and we see stores open. And when I would walk up to the store, get ready to walk in, they walk up to it and flip the sign over and say close. I said, let me just ask you, close. Walk down the street again. It was a nice fancy neighborhood too. Go down to another store, same thing. Get ready to walk in, flip the sign over, close. Like, what in the world? They don't even let me speak. I'm in a Navy uniform. I shouldn't look like a threat, but for some reason I was a threat. Then I see a couple walking down the street. I'm like, let me go ask this couple. Nope, those jokers take off and go across the street to get away from me. I was like, man, I know if I was in the South, it would be, people could be just as racist if they wanted to be. Well, they would have gave me some direction. They were like, you know, go on down there, take a left at the stop sign, and you know, the corner store and the tree in the left and all this. And they would have I believe they would have given us direction. But the people up north, no, yeah, I was the plague. They stayed away. I couldn't even get close enough to ask about anything. It was like, man, what's going on? Huh? And still, like I said, I got on this uniform, and they're still acting like they're afraid of me. So we both made it back. I think they must have told the other guy directions, and he was able to get us, made it to the ship. But anyway, it was some other situations too. While I was up north, I'm like, these people up north, it's a different kind of racism up here. I ain't know about this kind of stuff. I felt like I could deal with it down in the South. I was struggling to deal with it up north. But anyway, yeah, that was my experience with the northern racism. But yeah, it's still like you never know. So my mentality is still to try to show love everybody, no matter what. Even if I felt people didn't like me. That's what I felt when I was in the Navy. When I was in the Navy, and even when I got out, my mentality was, if we Americans, we're fighting for all Americans. I hear something stupid. I don't know if this is a rumor that where people of color are asked not to join the military now. I'm not sure. I need to look that up. I've been hearing some stories about that. But yeah, when I was in the military, I knew that there were people that didn't like me. I knew there was people with races that couldn't stand me just because of my skin color. But still, we're in America. So in America, you have the right to not like me because of my skin color. That's the freedom. That's just the way it is. So I still will fight for that person. If that person tried to cause harm to me or any of, anybody that I know or loved ones, anything, yeah, we would have a problem. But just a point of, we live in a free country, and is good things and bad things comes with the freedom. So yes, according with the freedom, it's going to be other sides. It's going to be sides that you don't agree with. There can be probably multiple sides that you don't agree with. Okay, we're still Americans. So that's the way I looked at it. We are Americans, and I'm fighting for the freedom to keep that. It seems like that's a lot of that's under attack now. Like, people don't care nothing about freedoms. They don't care about you. It's like my way or the highway. What I believe in is the only way it's supposed to be. Is no other way. That's a bad direction for the country to go in. But yeah, I really wanted to talk again teach people about Axe Handle Sunday, what happened here right here in Jacksonville about teens, young people. They knew that the laws, so it in the United States, it was the law of the land for racism. It was the law of the land for racism to take place in our country. It was a law. So a lot of times I hear people talking about we need to obey all the laws. There's still some unjust laws. We still have some unjust laws. So that's what I just want to talk about. Like, yeah, the Axe Handle Sunday that happened in Jacksonville. Mostly the people of color were the only ones. I can't say only ones, but I believe majority of the ones that got arrested. We remember the story when Martin Luther King actually came down here to St. Augustine, right south of here. He actually stayed here in Jacksonville, but it was a hotel in Jacksonville with people of color was there, and they were in the pool, and the owner didn't like the people of color being in the pool, so he grabbed buckets of bleach and poured the bleach in the water in the pool. I don't think it caused too much harm to them that I know of, but just the idea that you don't want people of color in your pool. But the point that a lot of mentality is still here. The mentality is still rampant in our country. So you don't combat that with hate. You combat that with love and peace. Treating people right, treating people the way you want to be treated. Better. My motto is treat people better than the way you want to be treated. So if somebody could do something for me, let me just go above and beyond. And I hope that's what people did for Valentine's Day, especially if you have a loved one, your sweetheart. Did you show love more than the love that you looking for you? Not just women looking for their man to do something for them. Did the woman do something for their man? And however else people would like to celebrate it. Did you show love to your loved one? That's what the holiday is about. And so I got a few minutes left. I just want to talk about, I didn't bring the video, but do y'all know the real story of Valentine's? Yeah, I'm changing direction. Do y'all know the story of Valentine? I'm gonna go ahead and pop. What's up, Terry? This one faithful guy. Man, I want to meet you. I'm gonna add this the copyright disclaimer. We got to talk one day soon. But do y'all know the true story, the full story of Valentine's Day? I don't know why it took me more than 50 years to finally hear the story. But let me just give you my rough ghetto version. Back in the day, I think it was, is this BC? I think I forgot the dates. I think it's BC. So the emperor had this bright idea that, so emperor got all his military people fighting. So, during the Romans was trying to take over the world. So they needed a lot of people in the military. So a lot of people are dying. There's a lot of wars, a lot of battles going on. So a lot of people are dying. So they still continue to need a fresh supply of people to join the military. But he had this bright idea that men in the military were weak, or like I said, this is me paraphrasing the story, so I know I'm not gonna say everything right, but he felt that a lot of the men, if they had loved ones, if they had family, if they had wives, it would cause them problems to continue to go ahead and fight. So he decided to ban the men in the military from getting married. But there's this priest that did not agree with that decree. So he decided to continue to let the new lovers get married. So he would marry the couples. And long story short, well, a longer story short, this particular priest got caught for marrying, continuing to marry people in the military. So he was a direct disobedience to the orders of the emperor. So one thing he was supposed to do was denounce Christ, or denounce Christianity, which he didn't do, or he was going to be put to death. So he chose to be put to death. And this person was, I don't know, bishop, or like I said, I didn't look up the story, so I'm kind of rusty. Either way, his last name was Valentine. So that was this, like this step, the start of Valentine's, of someone who gave their life for people to be able to continue to fall in love and to get married. So I guess mostly it was the marriage thing. I guess if you love somebody, you can still love them without marriage, but it's still, he put his life on the line and gave up his life to, so he felt so strongly of the fact that like people should have the opportunity to get married. So that was the law of the land that he protested. He went against it. He went against the grain, went against it. So some people probably say, yeah, he deserved to get killed because he broke the law. But what about these, unjust laws? So what do you do? What do we do about unjust laws? We're still talking about Black History Month. What if everybody sit around and say we can't break the laws? Slavery still be going on right now. If people can see and say, hey, we don't supposed to break the laws, people of color still wouldn't have civil rights. And now the civil rights are under attack at this very moment. So a lot of things that people gave up their life. I mean, it's not even, I'm talking about literally lost their life fighting for us. We are their future. When the Bible says your children's children, that's what we are here today. So they gave up their life. They gave up their livelihood. I just can't even think of all the different things that people sacrifice for us to be here today, and freedoms. And so now those are under attack. So I guess my question to people, what are we going to do about it? Are we just going to say, we just supposed to, that's just the way it is. That's how it is. So ain't nothing we can do about it. It's the law. So we just got to go along with it, and whatever happens, we'll be all right. But I believe that I'm a believer that no matter what happens, we're going to be all right. But we're also supposed to look out. We're supposed to look out for people. We're supposed to be the ones that feed the needy, clothe the people who don't have clothes, visit the people in the prison, help the widower, the homeless. All those things God's people are supposed to be looking out for. And it looks like a lot of those are the first ones are getting harmed and getting hurt from the different changes that's going on. So what are we going to do about it? All right. That's the question for today. I'm going to be doing some more interviews, but coming up this weekend, Monday. So here in Jacksonville, we canceled the Martin Luther King, well, not canceled, we rescheduled the MLK parade this year. So they rescheduled it for Monday. That's actually President's Day. So we're going to have our 44th Martin Luther King Day parade here in Jacksonville on this coming Monday. So what's that got to do with us? Well, Purpose Inspired TV will broadcast live the parade from downtown Jacksonville. So you can check us out on Purpose Inspired TV on Roku and Fire TV. We're also going to put it on the streaming, Facebook and YouTube. But the main reason we are broadcasting it live over our TV channel, Purpose Inspired TV, Roku, and Fire TV. All right, so I hope you all join us. And until next time, everybody, be blessed. go to my little button here,